Blackstar promos have been around since 1999 when Pokemon first launched in the West. We're only counting ungraded cards because graded cards inflate the numbers like crazy. And we're counting down from number 25 all the way to number 1. So buckle up, grab some snacks, and let's talk about every expensive Blackstar promo that exists. Alright, let's start with the cards that are expensive but not insane. These are the ones sitting between $50 and $150. Now, you might be thinking, $50 isn't that much money for a rare card. But remember something, these were supposed to be free. If you threw away Blackstar promos as a kid because you thought they were worthless, you need to pay attention right here, because you might have literally thrown away $100. 25, Tropical Beach. 2011 is $50 to $75. This card was only given out at the 2011 Pokemon World Championships in San Diego. You had to physically be there. And even then, they only handed these out to staff and competitors. Most people have never even seen this card in person, so when you combine limited distribution with the fact that it's actually a playable stadium card, you get a promo that collectors and players both want. This is the 2011 version, and compared to the 2010 version, which we'll talk about later, this one is actually affordable because Pokemon printed slightly more of them. I talked to a guy in my Discord who went to Worlds in 2011. He got 2 of these cards and traded one away for a Reshiram EX at the event. That Reshiram is worth $10 now. The Tropical Beach he traded away is worth $75. Ouch. 24. Tropical Beach. 2012 is $60 to $80. Same exact card, same artwork, just a different year stamp. Think of these like concert posters. The Tropical Beach from 2010, 2011, and 2012 all have the same design, but collectors want the full set. Here's what surprises people. The 2012 version is actually worth more than the 2011 version, even though more copies exist. Why? Because 2012 was the last year they printed it, so it has this weird final printing premium attached to it. 23. Victory Medal 2010 is $70 to $90. This one was given out to people who placed well at regional championships and national championships in 2010. Tournament prize cards are scarce by design. Only the top players get them. And in 2010, the Pokemon TCG competitive scene was way smaller than it is now. I checked price charting, and in the last year, only 12 of these have sold online. Most of the people who won these were competitive players, not collectors, so they stuffed them in binders and forgot about them. 22. Entei Reverse Holo is $75 to $100. This card was a GameStop exclusive promo when Heart Gold and Soul Silver released in 2010. GameStop promos have this weird curse. At the time, everybody got them, so people assumed they were worthless, but most people threw them away or they got damaged because kids didn't sleeve them. Fast forward 15 years, and suddenly there aren't that many clean copies left, especially the Reverse Holo versions. Entei is part of the legendary Beast trio from Johto, and collectors want all 3. Raikou Reverse Holo is $80 to $110 and follows the same exact story. Raikou is worth slightly more than Entei for one reason. Electric types have always been more popular with collectors. It's the Pikachu effect. 21. Raikou Reverse Holo, $80 to $110. Same exact story as Entei, GameStop exclusive, same promotion, same scarcity. Raikou is worth slightly more than Entei for one reason. Electric types have always been more popular with collectors. Pikachu effect. People just love electric Pokemon more. It's the same reason why Jolteon is always more expensive than Flareon and Vaporeon. Even when the cards are equally rare, electric types get a premium. 20. Computer error is $90 to $120. This card is absolutely ridiculous. Here's what it does. You flip a coin. If heads, you can draw cards or shuffle your hand. If tails, the card does absolutely nothing. Wizards of the Coast made this card in 2001 as a league promo, and I think they were just messing with people. But because it's so weird and unique, collectors love it. Wizards only printed it for a few months as a league reward. Pokemon has printed thousands of cards over the years and most of them are boring, but Computer Error is memorable because it's so stupid. 19. Suicune Reverse Holo is $100 to $150 and completes the legendary Beast trio from GameStop. Suicune is the most expensive of the 3 for one simple reason. Suicune is the mascot of Pokemon Crystal, and Crystal is a lot of people's favorite Pokemon game. Nostalgia drives prices. I checked recent sales and Suicune sells about 50% faster than the other 2 legendary beasts, which tells you that demand is higher. Plus, the artwork on this card is beautiful. Now here's what's wild. We just covered 7 cards and the cheapest one was still $50 for a promo card that was free. And we haven't even gotten to the cards that break the $150 mark yet. 18. We're now in the $150 to $500 range, and I need you to understand something. If you find one of these cards in your collection, you don't trade it. You don't sell it to a card shop for half price. You list it online yourself and you get full value. Because at this price point, we're talking about real money, like pay your rent money. So why are these specific cards worth so much? It comes down to 3 things: extreme scarcity, competitive play history, and cultural significance. 17. Magikarp Tamamushi University is $150 to $200. Wait, a Magikarp is worth $200? Yes, and here's why. This card was only distributed at Tamamushi University in Japan during a special Pokemon event in the late 1990s. If you weren't a student or faculty member at this specific university, you couldn't get it. We're talking about a card that was only available to a few thousand people in one location in one country for a limited time. And most of those people didn't keep it because it's a Magikarp, the joke Pokemon. But now, Magikarp has this cult following. People love Magikarp because it's so useless and collectors specifically hunt down weird Magikarp cards. 16. Snap Contest Venusaur is $180 to $250. This next batch of cards has one of the coolest backstories in Pokemon history. In 1999, Nintendo released Pokemon Snap for the N64 and ran a contest to promote it. You had to own Pokemon Snap, take a photo in the game, print it out using the special printer kiosks at Blockbuster or Lawson stores, then mail your photo to Nintendo. And if the judges liked your photo, you won a special promo card. Only a few dozen people won these cards, maybe 100. Nobody knows the exact number because Nintendo never released official figures. Venusaur is the least rare of all the Snap Contest cards, which is why it's only worth $250. 15. Snap Contest Ivysaur is $200 to $280. Same exact contest, same exact distribution method. Ivysaur is worth more than Venusaur for one simple reason: fewer people got it. The contest had different price tiers and the distribution wasn't even. Based on eBay sales history, Ivysaur shows up for sale maybe once or twice a year, while Venusaur shows up 4 or 5 times. And here's what blows my mind. These cards were given out to kids, random kids who entered a photo contest, and now those kids are adults who have no idea they're sitting on $300. I guarantee you there are Snap Contest cards sitting in attics right now in beat up binders and the owners have completely forgotten about them. 14. Energy Switch. Secret Rare is $220 to $300. Wait, an item card is worth $300? Yes, and there's a very specific reason why. This card came from Ultra Prism, which released in 2018. Energy Switch became competitively relevant and players actually needed this card for certain decks. But because it was a secret rare, it was incredibly hard to pull from packs. The pull rate was about 1 in every 3 booster boxes, so you had to spend roughly $300 worth of packs to have a chance at pulling one. I remember when this card was in standard format, players were paying $200 just to have it in their deck because if you showed up to a tournament without it, you were at a disadvantage. 13. Lugia Player Rewards is $250 to $350. The Player Rewards program ran from 2007 to 2011. If you participated in organized play events, you earned points, and if you earned enough points, you could redeem them for exclusive promo cards. Lugia was one of the top tier rewards, and you needed a lot of points to get it, which means most casual players never earned enough. The program ended over a decade ago, so no new copies are entering circulation. The supply is frozen, but demand keeps growing. Electabuzz Wizard Stamp is $280 to $400. Before Pokemon took over printing the TCG themselves, they partnered with Wizards of the Coast. This Electabuzz has the Wizards of the Coast logo stamped on it and was only given out to people who visited specific power plant locations. Once Pokemon ended their partnership with Wizards, these stamped cards became historical artifacts representing a specific era of the TCG that will never come back. 12. Sizer X Unseen Forces is $350 to $500. This card was a Nintendo Power magazine exclusive. If you subscribed to Nintendo Power in 2005, you got a special edition of this card mailed to you. But by 2005, Pokemon's popularity had crashed and the TCG was in a slump, so not that many people were subscribing to Nintendo Power for Pokemon cards anymore. Because of that, fewer copies of this card exist compared to earlier Nintendo Power promos. So let's recap. We just talked about 7 cards worth between $150 and $500, and every single one of them was either a contest prize, a tournament reward, or a subscription exclusive. You see the pattern? The expensive Blackstar promos aren't the ones from theme decks, they're the ones that required you to actually do something to get them. And now, we're crossing into serious collector territory because every card from here on out is worth at least $500. Okay, real talk. If you own any of the cards I'm about to mention, you need to get them authenticated and protected immediately, because we're now talking about cards worth more than most people's monthly salary. These aren't toys, these are investments. So what separates a $500 card from a $100 card? At this level, it's about three things: historical significance, extreme rarity, and perfect storm situations, where demand exceeds supply by a massive margin. 11. Rocket's Mewtwo X is $500 to $700. This card was part of the player rewards program, but unlike the Lugia, which was a mid-tier reward, this Mewtwo was a top-tier reward. You needed maximum points to get it, and because it's Mewtwo, demand is insane. Mewtwo is one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, top 5 easily. I checked completed eBay sales, and in the last 6 months, only 4 copies of this card have sold. When this card was first distributed in 2009, it was selling for like $50 because competitive players didn't really want it. But once the player rewards program ended and nostalgia started kicking in, the price exploded. It's up over 1,000% from its original secondary market price. 10. Snap Contest Blastoise is $600 to $850. We're back to the Pokemon Snap Contest cards, and this is where things get really expensive. Blastoise has always had dedicated collectors. It's one of the original starter evolutions, and it's a fan favorite. Unlike Venusaur, which some people think is boring, Blastoise has this cool factor. Blastoise consistently sells for $200 more than Venusaur from the same contest. Same scarcity, same distribution, but Blastoise is more popular, and in the card market, popularity matters just as much as rarity. 9. Championships Arena is $700 to $1,000. This is a stadium card given out exclusively at the 2006 World Championships to competitors. Only a couple hundred people received this card, maybe less. It's a stadium card with unique artwork that was never reprinted, and it sat under the radar for over a decade. When this card came out in 2006, Pokemon was in its post-crash phase and interest was low. Most people who got it just threw it in a binder and forgot about it. Then, around 2018, vintage Pokemon exploded, and suddenly people realized that this Championships Arena card was incredibly scarce. I found sales records showing this card sold for $45 in 2015. Now it's worth $1,000. That's over 2,000% appreciation in less than a decade. 8. Tropical Beach. 2010 is $900 to $1,200. This is the original Tropical Beach, the first year, the most scarce. The 2010 World Championships were smaller than the later ones, so fewer people attended and fewer copies were distributed. This card was actually playable in competitive decks for years, which created this weird situation where players who didn't attend Worlds had to buy this card secondhand just to compete. Pokemon eventually acknowledged this was a problem and stopped printing competitively relevant cards as ultra-exclusive promos, but by then, the damage was done. 7. Snap Contest Charizard is $1,200 to $1,600. Okay, finally, a Charizard. You were probably wondering when Charizard would show up on this list. Same contest as before, same distribution method, but now it's Charizard, the most popular Pokemon card of all time. You take one of the rarest distribution methods in Pokemon history and attach it to the most hyped Pokemon ever, and you get a card worth over $1,000. But here's what surprises people. This Charizard is only number 7 on the list. It's not even in the top 5. Everyone assumes Charizard would dominate this list, but the reality is that Charizard Blackstar promos were printed way more than other Pokemon promos. At the highest levels of collecting, scarcity beats hype every single time. 6. Tropical Tidal Wave is $1,400 to $2,000. This card was given out at the 2005 World Championships, but unlike other Worlds promos, this one was only given to actual competitors, not staff or attendees. We're talking about maybe 100 to 150 copies in existence, maybe less. And because 2005 was during Pokemon's popularity slump, a lot of those competitors didn't keep their cards. They quit the game, they moved on, the cards got lost or damaged. I talked to a former competitive player who competed at Worlds in 2005. He said after the event, he gave his Tropical Tidal Wave card to a younger player he met there, just gave it away, because he thought it was just a participation trophy. That kid is now sitting on a $2,000 card. If you own any of the cards I'm about to mention, congratulations. You're holding something that fewer than 100 people in the world possess. These aren't just expensive cards, these are legend tier rarities. What makes these cards worth thousands of dollars? It's the perfect storm: historical significance, single-digit distribution numbers, cultural impact, and in some cases, cards that literally should not exist. 5. Victory Orb is $2,000 to $3,000. This card was given out at the 2010 World Championships, but not to participants or staff, only to the top finishers in each age division. We're talking about the top 4 players in junior, senior, and master divisions. That's 12 people per year. This wasn't a card, it was a trophy in card form. Most winners kept these cards because they're not just valuable, they're personal achievements, but occasionally one shows up for sale, usually when a former player needs money. Owning this card is like owning an Olympic medal, except instead of winning the Olympics, you won Pokemon Worlds. 4. Number 1 trainer is $3,000 to $5,000. This card is in Japanese and the translation is literally number 1 trainer. This was given out to tournament winners in Japan in 1999, the very early days of the Pokemon TCG. You had to win a sanctioned tournament, and if you won, you got this card. The problem is, we don't know how many of these exist. Pokemon never released official numbers. Some estimates say 50 copies, some say 100, some say less. This card almost never shows up for sale. I found 3 sales in the last 2 years. Most of the people who won these cards were Japanese players who never sold them because in Japan there's a cultural emphasis on keeping achievements. This card is worth more than most base set Charizards, and yet most Western collectors have never heard of it. 3. Snap Contest Squirtle is $4,500 to $6,500. A Squirtle card worth more than a used car. Let that sink in. Same Pokemon Snap Contest as before, but Squirtle is the rarest of all the contest cards. Why? Nobody knows for sure, but the prevailing theory is that fewer Squirtle cards were distributed as prizes or more, got lost or damaged over the years. Squirtle is the most popular of the Kanto starters in Japan, so when this card shows up for sale, Japanese collectors go crazy for it. I saw one of these sell on eBay last year. The bidding war was insane. It started at $1,000 and within 3 days it was at $6,000. The seller ended the auction early and sold it privately for an undisclosed amount. Rumor is it went for over $7,000. 2. Tropical Mega Battle is $6,000 to $9,000. This card was given out at a regional tournament in Hawaii in 1999. The Tropical Mega Battle was one of the first major Pokemon TCG events ever held. Only 12 copies of this card exist. 12. That's not an estimate, that's confirmed. Pokemon officially documented the distribution. 12 tournament finalists got this card. And because it was 1999, most of those kids had no idea what they had. I read a story about one of the original winners who kept the card in his deck and played with it. It got bent, creased, damaged. Years later, he found out it was worth thousands. He sold it for $3,000 even in damaged condition. A mint copy would have been worth $9,000. This card has unique artwork that was never reprinted, and it's one of the most sought after Blackstar promos in existence. 1. Pre-release Raichu is $10,000 to $15,000. This is it. The most expensive Blackstar promo Pokemon card ever made. And here's the thing, this card should not exist. Let me explain. Pokemon was testing a pre-release stamp system in 1999. The idea was to give out special stamped cards at pre-release events. They printed test versions of several cards including this Raichu. But Pokemon decided not to use the Raichu. They scrapped it. They were supposed to destroy all the test prints, but somehow 10 to 15 copies made it out of the printing facility. Nobody knows how. Some people think it was an employee who took them, some think it was a legitimate error, some think Pokemon intentionally let a few slip out to create hype. Pokemon has gone on record saying this card was never meant to be released. It's not an official promo, it's an error, a mistake that somehow became real. And because of that, it's the ultimate forbidden Pokemon card. Owning a pre-release Raichu is like owning a prototype iPhone that was never supposed to leave Apple's headquarters. I've only seen one of these cards in person at a card show. The collector had it in a protective case and wouldn't let anyone touch it. When I asked him how much he'd sell it for, he just laughed and said this card is never leaving his collection, even if someone offered him $20,000. You'd think the oldest Blackstar promos would be the most expensive, but that's not how it works. The pre-release Raichu is from 1999, but so is the base set Pikachu promo, and that one's worth $5. Age doesn't matter. What matters is scarcity, story, and mystique. The pre-release Raichu has all three. So there you have it. The 25 most expensive Blackstar promo Pokemon cards ever released. And look, I know I probably got some of these prices wrong. The market changes every day. So if you have better data, let me know in the comments. This took me forever to research, 40 hours of digging through sales records, and my editor spent just as long putting this together. So if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button and let us know which card surprised you the most. And if you own any of these cards, protect them, because you're not just holding cardboard, you're holding history. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.